Hey, what's good, y'all? Convo Kingz back with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about our expectations for the rookie quarterbacks. Um, Smurfy is in the building. We got Whitty in the building. Whitty, why don't you go ahead and start us off? What are your expectations for this year?
So as of right now, let's see who we know we're starting. So we know Jaden Daniels will be starting. We know Bo Nix will be starting. We know who else? Caleb Williams will be starting out
Yep.
of the rookies, and that's it, right? Because JJ McCarthy's done for the season. I don't think Drake May is going to start for the Patriots. That's
Um,
going to be a disaster if he does. But out of these guys, who do you think is going to perform the best, Sparfy?
it's kind of hard to tell just because it's preseason can be only taken with a grain of salt. Now, I think honestly,
Yeah.
for the most part, one thing that's kind of interesting is I think everybody's had a pretty good preseason, even Drake
Yep.
May. I think they all had honestly, besides Jaden McCarthy, he's obviously hurt, so he's out for the year. I didn't even think he had a decent first game. He also threw a really bad pick, which is kind of not surprised. But I think everybody that we've seen play that is going to be playing next year, I think they all played really well. The best situation I would say right now is technically going to be probably Bo Nix in the Broncos, just because Sean's going to have him in a system to where he has to do very little. And he'll make sure to maximize whatever weapons, despite the lack of weapons in Denver. His system will make it very easy for Bo Nix, as long as he makes the correct reads and makes the right passes. It should be basically a no-brainer for him each game in and out. I know it's a harder system to learn, but he's a smart guy. So as long as he knows the system, it'll come easy for him in a division that's also kind of struggling with the Raiders and Chargers versus like Jaden in like the East and Caleb in the NFC North. What
Mhm.
about you, Woody?
What is it? I agree. Well, actually, I agree on your assessment of Bo Nix. I think his experience, all those snaps he had in college, is definitely going to help him transition to the NFL a lot smoother. But the guy I'm taking, who's going to, I think, outperform everyone, I'm going with Jaden Daniels, man. Because just like Bo Nix, he had a lot of snaps at Arizona State and LSU, and he just seemed like to me he seemed like the most pro-ready quarterback out of all the guys coming out of the draft. I think he does the little things right better than everyone else, and I think the Commanders might shock some people this year because let's be honest, outside of the Eagles, that division's that division ain't it. We got the
Yeah.
Giants with Daniel Jones. That's a whole nother video we could do. And then the Cowgirls. And then look, it's Dak or nothing with them after we saw with Trey Lance. So I think they could make. I think Jaden Daniels could make some noise.
That's a fair analysis. I do think from a defensive perspective, even though the East has got dumpster fires between the Giants and Dallas, which we don't know if they're going to have CD. Even though I think he'll probably be fine. They're not going to not pay him, but ultimately, yeah, I do agree. I mean, from a tangible perspective, I think Jaden is in a great situation. I just don't really like the weapons that much. Because
Mm-hmm.
outside of Scary Terry, you really don't know which. And like, I'm not a big Zach Ertz guy. I'm gonna be honest. I watched him
Yeah.
for the Cardinals, and he had a couple decent drops that were in pretty pivotal points. Even at tight end, they're not really like. I'm not impressed. So I
Not
think
what?
that puts him in a. Not saying that Denver also doesn't really have weapons like that. I just think Sean does a better job of using just like random ass players. I mean, we look at his time with the Saints, especially towards the back end of his tenure. They're running out there with Joe Schmo, undrafted receivers. They're still putting together pretty good games, and I just don't know
Yeah.
if I can see that with. And I think the Commanders are in a situation where there's going to be some growing pains on it. I think also Jaden did have the benefit of being able to trust his receivers at LSU because
Mm-hmm.
they were all just uber talented. Not saying that
Both.
the Commanders aren't, but it's a different level.
Yeah, they're both for first round picks. Crazy to think that, but what is it? You know, they must have been really high on McCaffrey and what's his name and Demonte Brown because they went ahead and traded Dotson a
That's
couple
true.
days ago. So I don't know. We'll see. Because I think McLaurin, he's a decent number one.
Yeah,
But
I
like
like
you
to see him with
said,
a nice
outside of
little
that,
receiver.
hmm outside of that, they have question marks for sure, though.
Yeah, I think also ultimately we also got to try to give a shout out to Caleb just because he is in a situation where I do think he has the best receiving core out of all the quarterbacks between Keenan Allen, Rome, and DJ Moore. He has the easiest path, in my opinion, to being successful just because he has weapons that he can easily rely on that are proven talent at the NFL level already. And they're pretty deep. So even if Keenan Allen, like he always does, misses a game or two, you're throwing in Rome, who's a top 10, who's a first round pick, and you're throwing in DJ Moore, who was a top receiver last year in terms of yardage. He's also just great after. He's more of a guy after the catch, so it really means that Caleb's on the spot. He doesn't have to do too much. And even despite injury, they're pretty deep. Now, after those three, I guess, yeah, it could be a problem. I don't imagine, though, they'll have a situation where they have all three of those receivers out. Also, they have Cole Kmet. So, ultimately, that's another thing we can't really sleep on for the Giants. I mean, for the Bears, is that they do have a pretty stacked receiving core for a rookie to kind of learn the game and kind of succeed in a division that's very winnable because you have the Vikings that are kind of, in my opinion, they're in a rebuild. They're trying to win, obviously, but they're in a rebuild. And then you have the Lions, which is like the biggest threat, obviously, but the Bears have had their number defensively, so I don't imagine it's going to be a massive obstacle for them. And then you also have I don't know why I'm blanking on the other team right now, but
Packers.
Packers, which will also be a threat. But I do think, as much as I like the Packers overall, they just have a lot of question marks that I'm not totally sold on as far as will they be consistent this year like they weren't last year. But yeah, I do think that overall, I think all of them are going to play at a pretty high level. It'll be interesting once we see like regular season start to see if that changed how they did in preseason versus the regular season. Ultimately, I think they're all going to be really high level. But yeah, I think for my pick right now, it's still going to be Bo Nix, even though I'm a big Jaden fan. I think he just has the most. I think he has the best offensive mind out of the group, and that's going to pit his advantages.
All right. Well, do you guys have any more closing statements?
The Giants should take a quarterback.
The Giants
should take one of the quarterbacks, any of them, even in the 6th round. Just one. They didn't.
They didn't draft the quarterback at all?
No, they did not.
Selling.
They didn't touch one of them.
Hey, hot take. Drew Lock is probably going to start a game this year.
God.
Right.
I'm good.
Hey, low-key, Smurfy, the one game he started last year for Seattle when Geno missed one, he didn't look too bad.
Yeah, but then he didn't have a great preseason. So
he did it. Oh, dang it!
No, he had a rough game. It wasn't all bad. He had a rough game, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised just to get something different out there. That was a team that really needed to take a quarterback that did not. And to this day, it eludes me as to the nonsense of urgency there. And you paid that quarterback over Saquon. I mean, imagine doing that.
That
not
was
helping
crazy.
leave your quarterback. So that's a different topic, of course, but yeah, no, that's my hot take. Not my hot take. That's actually not even a hot take, honestly, in my opinion. They should have taken a quarterback. They're idiots for not taking a quarterback, especially in this class.
All right. Well, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next video. Peace.